Hi, I'm Jerry McGlothlin, host of Special Ops. We're talking about Arizona today. Why? Because Arizona may flip from Biden to President Trump on the electoral vote slate. So joining us here is the publisher of Western Journal, available at westernjournal.com and facebook.com/Western Journal. His name is Floyd Brown. Welcome, Floyd.
Great to be with you, Jerry. And I would never like to correct you, but we're not talking about flipping Arizona. We're talking about getting an accurate count in Arizona. And
Amen.
it's
Glad to be
really
corrected.
important for people to understand none of this is about changing the election. This is about getting an accurate, legal, true count of the voters that voted. And so, we've been working very hard here in Arizona. I think early on, it was clear from what I'd call anecdotal evidence that President Trump won Arizona in a landslide. And being here on the ground during that time and attending at least one of his rallies this year, I was convinced he was going to win here in a landslide, and was shocked to wake up the next morning and find that there had been all of these shenanigans really perpetrated in Maricopa County, where we had a recorder that was a Bernie Sanders left-wing Democrat, and he brought in these Dominion machines and he engaged in a series of frauds that frustrated the will of the voters. So that's why we're working hard in Arizona to get a true count recognized. And there's been a lot going on. Many of you may have seen the hearings that were held by the state legislature here. And I have talked to Representative Mark Fitcham, who was instrumental in those hearings and getting them organized. And he said that as they have dug into the evidence, they have found absolutely unbelievable fraud. This is kind of like a theft that you don't see. Most of us, when we're robbed, you think, hey, somebody walks up to you and if you're a woman, they grab your purse and they, rip it off you and run, or, they might bring a gun and point it at you and say, I want to rob you. No, this is like a secret burglary. So if say you go on vacation and you're gone on vacation and someone breaks into your home and you don't even notice it, but then 2 or 3 months later, you're looking for something and you just say, I know I have that. Where is that? But it's gone. And it's too late to call the police. It's too late to do anything about it. And your neighbor says, I did see somebody lurking around your house when that happened, but I didn't call the police. I didn't know something was going on. That's the kind of theft we're talking about here, where they've used technology and they've used voting machines, but they've also used distorted election procedures in order to manipulate the vote. That, on top of unbelievable text suppression of many stories during the campaign. This was text suppression orchestrated by Google, orchestrated by Facebook, orchestrated by Instagram, orchestrated by all of these big tech platforms. And so as a result, it's hard to get news. It's hard to know what's really going on. So not only did they rob you of your vote and took your vote, and by that, they took your precious liberty, because that's what makes America special. We get to choose our elected officials, but you didn't get to this time. It was stolen from you. It was taken from you. And so what we're trying to do in Arizona and in the other states, Jerry, is we're trying to get an accurate count of the vote. And I think we're going to be successful. And I think Donald Trump is going to be reelected, and he's going to be inaugurated on January 20th.
Hear to that. Yeah, when my wife and I were watching the hearings in the various states, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Arizona, etc., the one that seemed to be most open to the arguments was Arizona. They seem like they really cared, they're really listening. And if Rudy Giuliani is right, then it looks like Arizona may very well accept the legitimate slate of electors from Donald Trump rather than the bogus ones from Biden. Have you heard much about that?
So I spoke with Representative Fitcham this morning, and if you've been following it closely, they held the hearings, then they held a secondary hearing, and at the end of that hearing that was held by the state Senate, they actually subpoenaed the machines from Maricopa County, these Dominion machines. And they also subpoenaed the scans, because the way these machines work, we vote on paper ballots here in Arizona, but they're fed into a machine and they're all scanned. And so what they want to do is compare the scans to the counts in the machines to make sure that it's accurate. But for some unexplained reason, the Board of Supervisors of Maricopa County voted to not comply with the legislature's subpoena. And so the legislature went to court, and last night, a judge told Maricopa County that the legislature can hold you accountable for that subpoena, and they can actually even arrest you. So there's a good chance that this impasse where Maricopa County is still trying to hide things, still trying to keep people from seeing what the actual results are, trying to keep people from seeing the scans of those ballots, that is still going on. But we're hopeful that that'll be settled soon. And then the forensic experts, really the people that know what they're doing, will be able to analyze the machines, will be able to analyze what was done with the data in the machines, and will be able to know, based on the scans, what the actual results were in Arizona. And there may be a number of different races that'll be shifted here, because what we believe they engaged in is what I would call vote shaving. They would count all of the Biden votes, but not count all the Trump votes. And in some places actually switch Trump votes to Biden votes. So it remains to be seen actually what happened until the experts can get these machines. But isn't it amazing, Jerry, the way these different government agencies, if they have nothing to hide, why in the world do they not want anyone to analyze these machines? I mean,
because they have something to hide. It's obvious.
Well, when there's a car wreck, the state police comes in and they, get their tape measures out and they get their cameras out and they photograph things and they measure things and they look at how the cars hit, and they can determine from that, what happened in the accident. Well, right now we're seeing a massive, massive cover-up by these election officials that don't want Americans to know how dirty they really are. But this information is going to come out. And by the way, Jerry, it's going to come out hopefully before Biden is in office. But even if somehow it didn't come out until afterwards, this information is going to come out. And it is, I believe, the greatest single scandal of my lifetime. I'm 60 years old now, and as I look back over my life, I lived through Watergate. This is a greater scandal than Watergate. And I think that there's going to be a lot of people that in the end up going to jail over this massive attempt at fraud and this attempt to steal that precious liberty from Americans.
Well, I'm glad you brought up jail for a minute, because there's a couple of dates I want to talk about. One is January 3rd, which is a Sunday. That's the date, I believe, that the House of Representatives is going to pick a new speaker or affirm the old speaker. And the second one is a very pivotal time, which would be January 6th, which is on a Wednesday. The joint session of Congress, the House and the Senate, have to get together, and they allow 2 hours of debate in the House and 2 hours of debate in the Senate on these electoral matters here on the slate and so forth. But what Rick Gates told me, the deputy campaign manager for Trump in 2016, deputy chairman, He says that he could get 2 hours of debate in each chamber for each electoral vote. That means 435, if they really want to put it to the map there.
Yeah.
435 times 4 hours, which means it's going to go past January 20th, unless somebody knows a way to put more than 24 hours on a clock.
Yeah. And now I heard it was 1 hour or 2 hours of debate per each slate of electors that's disputed. There's a lot of states that have no dispute.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But Rick seems to think if they want to get technical, they could do it on every single electoral vote. Now, he also told me something nobody else has confirmed to me, but it sounds interesting. He says this, Floyd, I don't know if you know this, but the Sergeant of Arms, okay, we all know about parliamentarian and parliamentary procedure and all that, but the actual Sergeant of Arms can arrest senators who run for cover. If they want to avoid this because they don't want a quorum, he could literally send the police over there, arrest them, and drag their rear ends back into the chamber again. Because without a quorum, it's difficult to do the debate. Now, if we do get a quorum and they actually get the courage to do this, and the Senate having a legitimate hearing on this, Mike Pence, we always think of him as vice president, but he's technically president of the Senate. So now we got the president of the Senate who actually has authority over both houses. And Nancy Pelosi has no authority because her House of Representatives is moot. This would be a 50-member House, one from each state. And as we know, Republicans have 30 some of the states, and far less than that would be the Democrats. So it's technically a slam dunk. Trump would win. I mean, he literally would win if they have a fair fight allowed to get debated. But they're going to try not to have a fair fight, consistent with everything else that they've done up to now, and try not to allow a quorum. I mean, it gets very interesting. We could end up with President Pelosi for 2 or 3 days, and then after that, Donald Trump again. And in theory, it could even be Mike Pence. It's very hard to say at this point what the outcome will be, but the least likely outcome is a Joe Biden presidency.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Counties, ballots were challenged. In other counties, ballots weren't. And it was a total mess, just a total chaos. And as we all know, they stopped counting in the middle of the night. And what did they do? Well, all of a sudden, hundreds of thousands of Biden votes showed up in trucks, and boom, Donald Trump was winning in a landslide. And all of a sudden, Joe Biden is winning. And this happened in state after state. But the heart of the Texas lawsuit was, hey, we followed our rules in Texas, and we're in a compact here. We states, we entered into a compact, and the compact was we would all follow these rules. And Pennsylvania didn't follow those rules. And so they sued at the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court said, we're not going to take it on, quote, standing. Well, the whole concept of standing is not even in the Constitution. It's a legal construct that was developed in the 1920s, really to help judges not take cases they didn't want to take. And it was used extensively during the New Deal because all of these New Deal agencies that were cooked up by Congress and Franklin Roosevelt, there was lawsuits against most of them because they stripped people of private property rights and other rights. And so judges would say, you don't have standing to challenge that. And they shut a lot of it down. But the truth is that it is just a legal construct. It's not in the Constitution. They should have taken that case from Texas, and they were derelict in their duty for not taking it. But I think there's things in the works that are going to force the Supreme Court to deal with these issues because we are in a constitutional crisis. And frankly, the founders, I always like to say they were brilliant. My wife corrects me. She says, no, they asked God for wisdom. And they received wisdom from God because they prayed before the sessions and they asked God, help us write this great Constitution. And so as a result of it, it's unbelievably awesome. And it anticipated that there would be people that would try and influence elections and influence them wrongly and corrupt election processes. So they put safeguards in, and that safeguard is the state legislature. And that's really a significant safeguard. And I'm hopeful that these political bodies and the courts will do what's right and stop this robbery of people's liberty.
You have so much wisdom and history packed into that soundbite there. I'd like to say that Thomas Jefferson was afraid of this, and he probably prayed to God, and God showed him what's in man's heart, and it's evil naturally apart from God. So he was afraid, and he warned what would happen if you ever allow concentration of power to be in Washington, D.C. We're going to be fighting the same tyrant or tyrannical system that we did with King George. And that's happened. And actually what they're doing right now makes King George look like a mild-mannered reporter or something. I mean, it's far worse than it was for the very revolution we had in the first place. Let's move to January 6th here for a minute. Representative-elect Marjorie Taylor Greene, a Republican from Georgia, said that some Republican senators will join in an effort to challenge electoral college votes when the joint session convenes on the 6th. Now, we're talking about that very key date here on the 6th. It follows the vote for the Speaker of the House 3 days earlier. The interesting thing here is if they drag it out and it defaults to President Pelosi for a very short amount of time, might be for an hour or 2 hours or 2 days or whatever, the irony behind this is not only would Nancy Pelosi not be Speaker of the House anymore after President, presumably, hopefully, President Trump even put in, she wouldn't even be a House member because she has to resign from the House completely to become president for a day or an hour or a minute. And so that's one way to promote her up and out, as Mayor Daley used to say in Chicago. Didn't want somebody, give them a promotion, promote them up and out. That was his old way of doing it. But she believes, well, she's new, but she does believe others will join in now. Mo Brooks, we hear a lot about. He's probably going to come up there and step up to the plate. We got Ron Johnson. What do you think about Ron Johnson? I mean, I read so many articles, some saying, yeah, he's going to do it. Some saying he's accepting electoral votes, because we need one person at least in the Senate and in the House to object. What do you think Ron's going to do?
We are going to get at least one objection, and I don't know where it's going to come from.
Ron Paul. I mean, we got two Rons there.
It
Ron
could
Paul,
be Rand
Ron
Paul.
Johnson.
It could be
I mean,
Senator
Rand
Ron
Paul.
Johnson.
Sorry.
There's a number of people that are extreme. It could be Ted Cruz. I mean, there are a number of people that are extremely upset that our constitutional republic is really hanging by a thread. Because if they're allowed to fraudulently steal this election and rob people of their fundamental right to elect the president of the United States, remember, the president is the only person in all of government that represents all of the people, the only one. And he's elected by all of this people in all of the states, and everybody else in our government is, selected by congressional district or a Senate state, a senator from a state or what have you. And so to rob people of their legitimate opportunity to pick the president is a grave sin against the republic. And I don't know that it will rebound from that, Jerry. In fact, one of the people have asked me, they say, Floyd, you seem obsessed about this. And they're right. I am obsessed about this because I am so concerned that the government and the form of government that has been so wonderful to us, it's made America so successful and so wealthy and so free and so unique in human history. Look at all of history. There is no place like us. And my wife is a direct descendant of one of the signers of the Mayflower Compact. And when these people came to these shores, they pledged themselves to God. And they said, okay, we're coming here and we're going to build, and then we're going to go out and we're going to share the gospel to the entire world from America. And they started that way back in 1620 when they showed up at Plymouth Rock. And it wasn't just the pilgrims that came there. It was, later waves of people that were coming, the French Huguenots and different Protestant groups from Germany and from the Netherlands and they all came, but many of them had suffered under these state churches in Europe, and they came for religious liberty, and they dedicated this nation to God, and they looked to God for direction. And I'm just hopeful that through all of this, we might restore some of that original impulse that Americans had to look to the divine, to look to their creator for direction, and to realize that times of freedom are very short, and we've got to appreciate it, but we also have to defend it. Ronald Reagan said, every generation has to defend their freedom. We're only one generation away from tyranny. And that's right. That's very true. Right now, we may be a few weeks or a few months from tyranny. And this is our time to fight. This is our time to stand up. This is our time to call upon our leaders to do the right things And I'm asking everybody within the sound of my voice to mobilize. Let your congressmen know, let your legislators know, let every one of your friends know, because there's so much tech suppression and news suppression. You've got to talk to people. And
let's talk about one place where there isn't suppression, westernjournal.com. Floyd Brown, for those of you who tune in late, is our guest here. He's the head of Western Journal, JOURNAL.com. And he has a lot more material on this and everything we've been discussing over there. And I highly recommend you go. There's no charge there. And at Facebook, you go to facebook.com/Western Journal. And now, Senator Rand Paul is toying with stepping up to the plate on January 6th. And Senator-elect Tommy Tuberville from Alabama has suggested that he some involvement on January 6th. Now, what's going to happen here is the holidays are going to go by, we're going to blink, and all of a sudden it's going to be a new week. I mean, right after New Year's is the very week that we're going to be seeing this deliberation in the Senate and in the House. This is our shot. This is our last hurrah here to go there and right the wrongs that have been done, to expose the theft and to deliberate on it. And I just hope and pray that Mike Pence finds his courage, because he actually has a lot of authority that the founding fathers have given him that people don't know. He actually pretty much is the most influential person in deciding who the president's going to be. And I hope he finds his courage and helps do the right thing and doesn't just look the other way. A lot of people are hoping that Donald Trump will just go away, including in the Republican Party, unfortunately. But we really need to keep the continuity going and do whatever we can to see another 4 years of Donald Trump, to at least have this nation into 2024. I can't predict what will happen after that. But, oh, man, it's so unfair when you think about it. They did a Russian hoax. They did the Mueller investigation. They did the impeachment. Everything they've tried has failed. If I were a computer and I was spitting out the odds, I'd probably say, wait a minute. Every time they try to do something against this guy, he counters it. Either God is on his side, or he's awfully lucky, or very talented, or whatever. But I think it's a combination of him being very talented and God being on his side. Because how could God be for abortion and so many other things? You were mentioning earlier about our founding fathers who want to have a place to get the gospel out. Well, we still are the number one in the world missionary senders. Now, South Korea has given us a run for our money, and some other places are, and good for them. But we still, I think, send more missionaries out throughout the world than anybody else. Now, the Democrats and the new tyrannical government, if Biden were to get in, and his puppet masters would accelerate things, because they pretty much just pull on the strings and whatever part of them they want him to do, just pull it over his finger and make him sign something. Their missionary cause is exporting abortion, anti-God ideology, transgenders. I mean, we're already seeing the head over all public education is a transgender, transvestite, whatever. I mean, what? That's the role model for our school children?
And add globalism to that. This is all about building a, quote, new international economic order. They're talking about an economic reset. That economic reset is Marxism.
Mom, thank God you're gonna be okay.
So relieved. But you both should know when my time comes, I have a final expense policy with Senior Care USA.
Is Senior Care USA the life insurance policy that helps loved ones pay for funeral expenses and other debts? Bill and I called to get more information.
Yes, and there's an immediate payout of up to $50,000.
If you're over 50, call Senior Care USA now to learn more about final expense insurance plans.
There's no medical exam, even if you have a pre-existing condition like I do. When I called, the quote was free, and there was no pressure.
I found out that policies start for as little as 35 cents a day. Rates will never increase and coverage won't decrease.
I'm gonna call today.
Ask about the free prescription discount card. Oh, I'm so glad you'll be taken care of.
Call 1-800-822-7419. That's 1-800-822-7419.
But is it It's really just the beginning, right? Have you written a book and want it published but don't know where to start? You're not alone. Page publishing cuts through the confusion that most new authors face, like copyright protection, barcodes, printing, and digital uploading. We will get your book into bookstores now. We guide you through the publishing maze and help you distribute and sell your work in hard copy and ebook formats. That's right. We will digitize and place your book for sale on Amazon, Apple iBooks, and Google, offering it to millions. Don't waste another minute. Most publishers won't even look at new author submissions, but we're different. We review your book and provide you feedback in about a week. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, our team gets you into bookstores fast.
Call 1-877-461-5033.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately? Introducing one-day bath and shower remodeling. The complete and hassle-free way to get the new bathroom of your dreams in as little as 1 day. And for as little as $199 a month. Yes, the experts at One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling will come to you anywhere in the country and show you all the customized options. Now you can have a brand new bathroom in as little as 1 day. Large or small bathrooms, if you want a new bathtub or shower installed, we can do it in as little as 1 day. And if you call right now, you can save $750 off your remodel. We make it easy by offering you financing as low as $199 per month. So for as little as $199 a month, you can finally have the bathroom of your dreams. Call now to schedule your free in-home consultation.
And it's worked nowhere. Any nation that's tried Marxism or socialism has failed miserably. And it's led to starvation, but it's also led to millions and millions of deaths. You know, hundreds of millions were killed by Mao in China. And China right now is continuing to kill different ethnic minorities that are not totally bought off on Chinese communism. And Russia, Stalin and Lenin killed hundreds of thousands. And these were incredibly bloody regimes. And a lot of people have asked me, so what comparisons do you see in history? I actually have been calling the Biden government, if Biden ever did get in, the Kerensky government of America. That means it's kind of that when the Tsar left, Lenin didn't come immediately to office. When the Tsar left, they brought in this democratic socialist government for a time called the Kerensky government. It was very weak, very ineffective. And Lenin used that time to consolidate power. He used his thugs on the street, and they captured power. And by the time Lenin was in, and the White Russians figured out that they had lost any freedom that they had, it was too late. And Lenin and Stalin, who came after him, killed hundreds of millions of Russians to consolidate that power. Cambodia. I mean, when you look at the history of communists taking over countries, it gets very bloody because people won't lose their property, they won't lose their lives, they won't give up their churches without a fight. And so America's, a very special place. And that's why I'd rather learn from those lessons of history, fight now when everything's peaceful, and we can have a peaceful debate and a peaceful exchange of ideas and work through the process than to get to the other side where an American Lenin consolidates power and then it kills millions of us along the way.
Well, it's no joke. I mean, I saw it either in the Washington Post or the New York Times. There was an article saying what should be done to punish these pro-Trump people in the next administration. They're not happy enough to win. They want to know what the appropriate imprisonment is or punishment is for people like us. Why are they even thinking something like that?
Well, so they're totalitarians. You see, I don't care what liberals think. I mean, I know they're wrong-headed and I don't agree with them. But if they want to ruin their lives and do things to themselves, that's their business. I'm not into micromanaging their lives. But that's not the case with the left. They want to micromanage our lives. They're not happy with us just saying, leave us alone. No, that's why they want us to affirm things. You take gay marriage, for example. If a couple of gay guys want to go off and live together, I'm not going to stop them. But they want us to put a special stamp on a marriage certificate and call their, living together a marriage. No, marriage was instituted by God. It's a special institution. It is where the family starts. It's the nuclear family. And this is a God-ordained institution from our culture going all the way back to Adam and Eve that were the first family. And so they're not happy with us just letting them, go off and live together. They have to force us to recognize their marriage. And then, even though they've got marriage recognized in the United States, that's not even enough for them. They want to force the guy at the bakery shop to bake them a cake. They want to force the photographer to take pictures. They want everyone to be forced to embrace their ideas. Well, for me, I believe in Scripture. Scripture is very clear. Scripture says those kind of relationships are sin. And I'm sorry when anybody's in sin. That's just one sin of many sins, but it's not to be embraced, and it's not to be held up as Barack Obama did when he put all those multitude of lights on the front of the White House celebrating their sin. I'm not going to join in that celebration. So they want to re-educate me. They want to force me to think like they think. I can't have the freedom of thought to think that homosexuality is a sin. And they want to stamp us out. And that's dangerous, very dangerous.
Well, there's actually something they could do. They could call for a quota system and not stop at just saying we got to make sure that gay marriage is legal. They might impose a quota saying 50% of all marriages that get licenses must be LGBT or whatever. It has to be one of the categories, and have a quota system on monogamous marriage and so forth. I mean, it may sound crazy, but listen, abortion sounded crazy. Legalize abortion before it happened, and they have it. And then you think, well, they would never do it for like up to the 9th month, and they did it. And even as we know, the Governor Ralph there, Northam of Virginia, is even talking about debating what you should do with a baby that's born alive after an abortion murder is attempted and failed, and the baby is there alive. Well, we're going to sit around there and think about it, have a committee meeting, let it die if you want. Look at Pol Pot in Cambodia, look at Stalin, look at Lenin, and Hitler. This is the one that bugs me more than anything of those leaders. Hitler was a fascist. The only difference really between socialism, Marxism, and fascism, I mean, fascism technically allows you to have the title deed to your house, but you have no control over it. They have total control. So they make you work, they even make you work harder to get a warm feeling by having a title deed or something, whereas an outright communist would not allow you to have it. How can they call Trump a fascist? He's the opposite of a fascist. Well, how come fascist-minded people are calling us fascists?
Because what the left does, Jerry, is redefines words to help them win the propaganda war. So, by redefining words, I mean, there used to be a common word for homosexuality. It was called sodomy. And then they redefined it as gay. And by redefining gay, now gay to me, when I was young, it meant happy. And people used it in that way. They were the gay 90s, for example. It wasn't because there was a bunch of gay people running around. It was the gay 90s because it was a really great decade, and people had great prosperity, and they were happy. And so they redefine words. They've just redefined fascism to mean, I guess a lover of liberty. I don't know, but Donald Trump has been anything but a fascist, and in fact, he has been a bulwark against communism and a bulwark against socialism, and that's the opposite of fascism. So one last point here that I think is really important, Jerry, and that is none of this is new, okay? History runs in cycles. You talk about abortion and child sacrifice. That was done in the Roman Empire.
Yeah, but you call it the wrong thing. It's not called abortion, it's called choice, pro-choice. Who could be against choice? There's another one of those words.
And as a father, during the Roman period, if you wanted to take one of your kids and sell them as a slave or leave them along the side of the road to die, that was totally acceptable. That was fine. That was great. It was only after Christianity washed over Western civilization and we adopted the mores of Jesus Christ and our hearts were changed that a lot of what were traditional pagan practices like child sacrifice and blood oaths and a lot of other stuff, that's what stopped all of that nonsense that they're attempting to bring back. So it's a big battle, but right now the focus of the battle is making sure that every legal vote is counted properly and that we get an accurate assessment of what happened in that November 3rd election and not allow an illegal, unjustified robbery of an election.
Okay, we have January 6th all the way to January 20th to debate this thing. Got 2 weeks in the joint session of the House. And if it's not decided by then, there's gonna be a caretaker president, and that'd be interesting. But I don't know. A lot of this is
it's new ground. It's unplowed territory because we're in a constitutional crisis. And so we'll see what happens, but pray for our country, pray for our fellow citizens, pray that our leaders will make good decisions, and pray that there's no violence.
Let me ask you one parting question. Would you support new elections in like 6 of the swing states, including your home state of Arizona?
I don't think we need new elections, Jerry. I think we just need an accurate count of the election that was held.
But if we were to have new elections and we didn't use Dominion voting machines and so forth, what do you think the outcome would be right now after everybody's heard the debate?
I don't like to speculate like that, so I'm not going to. I just think we need to have an accurate count of the election that was held.
All right, then if we have an accurate count, what would the results look like? How many
Donald Trump won in a landslide.
311 by my count in the Electoral College.
He won it in a landslide, and I believe he's going to be inaugurated come January.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Floyd Brown. Visit westernjournal.com.
Attention homeowners, do you have a house that's in need of serious repairs? Do you have tenants that never seem to make their monthly payments? How about code violations, past due taxes, or maintenance costs you just can't afford? Then call my friends right now at Quick Cash Offer. They specialize in buying any home, no matter how ugly the situation. Turn that problem property into cash right now. It's just that simple. One call and you can get rid of that home headache forever. They buy the ugliest houses with instant instant closings, instant cash, and huge savings. Plus, there are no realtor fees, no listing fees, and no repair costs. Just cash in your hands for that painful property. They're buying a few more houses in your neighborhood this month. So take advantage of this cash offer and call Quick Cash Offer now.
855-296-8854. 855-296-8854. That's 855-296-8854.
Listen carefully. If your student loan debt is overwhelming you and things seem hopeless, we've got great news.
If you're still struggling with your student loan debt, there are government programs available that may actually lower your payments by consolidating your federal student loans. Just call us. We'll review your situation and work with you to consolidate your debt. In many cases, depending on your situation, we can lower your monthly payments in half or more. It doesn't matter how much you owe or how far behind you are. Even if you're in default, call us right now to find out how we can lower your payment in half immediately. You can stop the harassing phone calls and the wage garnishments. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call us right now. We can remove your default status, consolidate your federal student loans, lower your payments, and we can do it today. Stop worrying. This is a real solution that can help. So please call us right now.
Call 800-917-8671.
Are you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you and all seniors from the Final Expense Insurance Hotline. The average funeral costs about $7,000, even more. And the most government benefits will pay your family is only $255. That leaves your loved ones with a burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay up to $30,000 for your funeral and other final expenses. There's no medical exam and you'll have lifetime coverage. Plus, your rates will never increase and your plan cannot be canceled regardless of your medical condition, as long as you make your premium payments. Get free information right now. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in just a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 855-221-7334.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Hi, I'm Jerry McGlothlin with Special Ops. Our guest is Rick Gates, 2016 Deputy Campaign Chairman for the Trump for President campaign. And we're going to talk about this breaking news about Donald Trump vetoing the defense bill. Rick, tell us what's going on there. Why would he veto something when he's so pro-military?
Sure, good to see you, Jerry. Look, the president has indicated earlier that he was going to veto the defense bill. It is a very big bill. Obviously, a big part of the overall government budget goes to defense spending. But there are two provisions that the president wanted to make sure that were dealt with by Congress, and they weren't. The first, very straightforward, and the president's been firm on this, the defense authorization bill, part of that language was designed to change the names of military bases with Confederate military officers' names. The president was very insistent that that not change. It's part of our history. It's not going to change. So he was very emphatic with Congress that language not be included. Congress, of course, included it. And the second provision, which is equally important, is that the president was clear that he wanted Section 230, which is known as the Tech Giant Act, and it governs and protects tech giant companies from any litigation in terms of being liable for the content that goes on their sites. And as you may recall, this became a very key issue a few weeks before the election, when the media companies had all but buried the Hunter Biden story involving his father right before the election. There were numerous types of scandals in a number of countries that are our foreign adversaries, including Russia, Ukraine, and China.
All right, let's talk about Section 230 again. I have clearly been blocked and throttled down many times, YouTube, Facebook, etc. They say they don't like my content. They're going to limit my reach, blah, blah, blah. I was getting about 100 to 100,000 to 150,000 views per video, and then they knocked me down to 300.
Look, Congress made it clear, and you saw a hearing, a few months ago, where this very issue was discussed. And what the media companies did, the tech companies, it was tantamount to election interference by blocking and policing information that went out to any one of its subscribers. That was, suppressing freedom of speech. And more importantly, in this case, they were directly impacting the election. Now, there's no secret. I think the number is in the high 80s, maybe even close to 90% of the donations that went to Democrats and Joe Biden were from media executives and tech giant executives. So you can kind of see where they are, putting their support. And look, this is problematic across the board. This is not about politics. No company should ever have the power to police information or certainly suppress information. Tech companies and media companies are not the judge and jury of information that comes into the public domain.
Okay, but I support the right for somebody like the New York Times, who hates conservatives, to put liberal letters to the editor or commentary or op-eds or whatever. That's their right. If you don't like it, you start your own newspaper and you put your own conservative stuff in. I'm fine with that. I think everybody's got a right to say what they want. But where do you draw the line between the right of a media outlet under the First Amendment to determine what is their editorial content, et cetera, versus a company like Facebook or YouTube that literally blocks the views of other people's opinions? It's not a government-owned entity. Facebook is privately owned, well, technically publicly traded. Where do you draw the line between free speech and censorship? Even if we would like to censor them because they're censoring us, what's the right middle of the road here? I don't really have it sorted out myself.
Look, I mean, I think from the all intents and purposes, the more information we have, whether it's conservative or liberal, the better off we're going to be as a society. I think it's absolutely deplorable that these companies are suppressing information. If nothing else, you'd want to get the information out so people can make informed decisions. And that's exactly what the media companies are trying to do. So to your question about how should we sort this out? Well, absolutely. I mean, there are private companies that obviously put in certain types of information that they are more comfortable with. That's no secret. But when they're a public company, and that's the point you just raised, they are governed by U.S. law and U.S. regulations, then those have to be followed. And basically what the big tech companies have done is violated those laws. And that's why this issue of Section 230 has come up, quite, immensely over the last several weeks. So there should be the ability to navigate the type of information, Jerry, that you're talking about. And, if a media outlet wants to put it on, if it is a private outlet, when it's in the public domain, when it's public facing, what they should be doing is getting out as much information on both sides so people can make the decisions. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're taking away the ability for people to make decisions, and they're providing them with either incomplete or inaccurate information. And that is the real crux of the issue. That is where the problem is.
Yeah. But we got something called the fairness doctrine that the liberals have been wanting to bring back for a long time, which means that Rush Limbaugh or Sean Hannity can't go and spout off a bunch of conservative rhetoric without giving equal time to the other side. So every time they make a point, they have to neuter themselves by putting on the opposition point. And we don't want that on radio and TV right now. So aren't we asking, in a sense, the same thing that we're trying not to see happen by the FCC with the fairness doctrine?
Well, look, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, you want to be in a position where you can turn on any radio or TV station and feel that you get the content that is, closely adheres to your beliefs and your values. I mean, that's what America is founded on. That's the whole idea of freedom of speech. But at the same time, as a society, what our government has done it's put in place parameters that were largely lobbied by big tech companies and media companies. And honestly, this is the first time where it's kind of come back to bite Congress and all these laws and protections they put in place for these companies. Now you're seeing the power that they have and what they're able to do. Nobody, again, Twitter, Facebook, Google, they're all public, companies. They're all designated as sending out public information. And when you're using a product or an app, in this case, then you should not be censored. You should not be, limiting in what you're able to say. Obviously within reason, within the, the bounds of decency and civil conduct. But, what we have seen of late is egregious. I mean, you can't just absolutely shut down, like you said, your content was shut down. Your success was throttled down on a few of these sites. I mean, that is somebody selectively going in and making deliberate choices based on what they believe, not what you believe, and that's where the issue, becomes a big problem.
All right, well, thanks for clarifying that. We're going to see if they override Trump's veto, and we'll have you back. Thank you, Rick.
Thanks, Jerry.
Are you paying too much for your health insurance? Are your deductibles too high? Or are you completely uninsured? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Healthcare Help Desk can help you now when people need help the most. Health insurance laws and rules have changed. If you have Obamacare, are uninsured, or your premiums are too high, call Healthcare Help Desk. It's free. New healthcare plans are available, and you may qualify for dental coverage and lower copays and deductibles. Make the free call now. Top quality coverage at the lowest prices anywhere. You may be paying too much and not even know it. In these troubled times, healthcare is more important than ever. Don't let another day go by without health insurance. Policies are being offered with very low copays and deductibles. So if you're uninsured, underinsured, or paying too much, call Healthcare Help Desk. Learn about your options before it's too late.
Call 800-964-1055. 800-964-1055.
Attention Medicare recipients and anyone turning 65. Medicare has approved new benefits not included with original Medicare and older Medicare Advantage plans. You may not be getting all of the benefits you're entitled to. These new Medicare Advantage plans may have many free new benefits including in-home aids, telephone appointments with your doctors, home-delivered meals and prescriptions. These benefits may be available and it's a free call to enroll. The easiest way to enroll is to call the Medicare Benefits Line, a free non-government service. The new plans may also offer free eyeglasses, free hearing aids, free wellness visits, and gym memberships. Call the Medicare Benefits Line now. It's easy. Find out if you're eligible for new benefits like meal and prescription delivery, in-home aids, and telemedicine. Some plans may have a $0 monthly premium or zero copays for big out-of-pocket savings.
Call 800-691-1655. 800-691-1655.
Medicare Benefits Line is not connected with or endorsed by any government agency or the federal Medicare program.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-447-7570. 800-447-7570.